Hello everyone, this is Mr. Martin. I'm going to walk you through today some of the basic skills you need to utilize the Tinkercad iPad app. Now first, if you do not have this on your iPad, you need to go to self-service and do a search for Tinkercad. We do need to use the app on this because it does have a feature that we need that is not on the web browser, so be sure to do that. When you first open Tinkercad, and it looks like this in the top right corner here, when you first open it, it's going to prompt you to log in. So you're going to want to make sure you click on sign in and then sign in with Google and then use your @apps account. When you get here, you'll bring to your page. You see I already have some designs on mine. You might have some designs because you might have used Tinkercad before. Some of you may have never used it. Those of you that have used it before, this is going to be kind of a refresher on stuff you probably already know. If you haven't used it, then this will be very important for you to watch. So I'm going to walk you through today, learn how to, some of the basic moves. Your job is going to be to follow along and then actually create the exact same thing that I am creating right now. And that is going to be your assignment to turn into us. So to get started, you're going to click on Create Design. And it's going to create this. In the middle here, you have your workspace. It's pretty standard iPad functions. 2 fingers zooms. If you pinch, open or close. You can also use 2 fingers to slide it left and right, up and down, so you can pan and see different parts. 1 finger rotates. On the left, you'll see some of your viewing tools. So if I want to view the front or exactly on the top of the object, I can do that. On the right is where you have all of your pre-selected shapes. And that's one nice thing about Tinkercad. They've already done a lot of stuff for you. To get started, I want all of you to first adjust your grid because you're going to have to be able to do that today in order to do the assignment the correct way. So you're going to click on Edit Grid, and I want you to change it to inches and then hit Update Grid. Also, where it says Snap Grid, I want you to change that to 1/64th of an inch. That's going to allow you just to do much more small movements with your object. So in Tinkercad, you have these pre-made objects, and we're going to go ahead today and make ourselves a Happy Meal box. So who doesn't love a good Happy Meal every now and then? So first thing you have to do is when you're using Tinkercad is you have to break down whatever your design is into some basic shapes. We're going to start with a box. Just a simple, so you click on it, press, and drag it in. Try to center it on this. And there is our box. I want you to resize that box. That's one of the next important things to learn is how to resize it. You can see there are 5 white dots here. And these allow you to grab from the corners to resize. The top one allows you to resize the up and down. You can also grab the black dots, which allows you just to change one dimension instead of both at the same time, like if you grab a box. You also have numbers here. And I want you to use those numbers because I want you to make a very precise size. I want you to make this box 3 inches. It's a little delayed when you do this. Click on the next one. By 3 inches. And then the top dimension also 3 inches. So now you have a perfect 3 by 3 by 3 cube, and it looks gigantic, but we just zoom out and it's fine. Now you're going to move it, try to center it on your workspace. You see up and down. Here is our box. Pretty straightforward, easy. Now, the top of a Happy Meal box is going to be kind of this roof. We've all probably made a house in Tinkercad before. Notice when I bring it in, it puts it on the surface that you worked on, the work plane. If I touch that black arrow, it allows me to lift it up and down. And I can do this, and I can type in the number and get it exactly the right height. But there's actually an easier way to do this. You're going to start On the top right corner here, it says work plane. What you're going to do is you're going to grab that, just press and hold. You're going to drag it to the top of the box here. And what it's done now is created a new surface that you can design on. And you can put that on any flat surface of any object you have. So now when we bring in the roof, it's going to automatically put it right on the top of the box on that work plane. We do have to resize this. We can use our same dimensions we did before. So 3 inches by 3 inches. That way it matches the dimension of that square we're placing it on. And then I'm going to make the height here. I'm going to try 1.25. See how that looks. And I think that looks like a good Happy Meal box. So now I'm going to click the top so I get a perfect top view. I'm going to place this. I'm going to zoom in really close to make sure I don't want anything hanging over. I want it to be nicely placed. It's hanging over a little bit there. So I'm going to, that's where we want our tiny 1/64th snap. Otherwise it won't let you perfectly line it up. I think that looks pretty good. So now what I want to do is group these two together so they become one object. So this is our next tool we're going to learn, is how to group them. So you're going to select your first object, which is the roof. I'm then going to click and just touch the second object. And it tells me right up here where it says shapes that I have 2 shapes selected. And on the top here then, right above where it says shapes 2, you see that little square and circle that are connected together. That is the group tool. So I'm going to touch that, and it grouped it. However, it now tells me that my Happy Meal box is green. And we all know that Happy Meal boxes aren't green. So I'm going to touch where it says shape right below it. That colored, green colored circle gives me my colored options. I'm going to make it red. So now I have the start of my Happy Meal box. Pretty neat, huh? All right. My next thing I have to do, we need the handle. How else are we going to hold our Happy Meal box? So we're going to bring in our work plane down here again. So you have to do that, otherwise it's going to automatically put things where we just have it. So touch and drag another work plane. This time bring it to the bottom where you started. And we could start there. Really on this one it doesn't matter where we start, but I'm going to start on the bottom. And to make the handle, and if you've had a Happy Meal before, those handles are kind of the cool golden arches. So I'm going to drag in what they call a round roof. However, it's positioned the wrong way. So see the little curved arrow? I'm going to touch it. I'm also going to drag out far away. Makes it easier to do. Make it 90 degrees. I'm going to make this, notice if I zoom in, I'm going to grab that right black square so I can shrink it down and make it about 1.8. It's a little short for the golden arches, so I'm going to grab the white box on the top, drag it up. Oops. That was a whoopsie. It accidentally dragged down. Just if you mess up, you can hit the little left arrow up top. That's the undo. It looks a little more golden archy. But the golden arches have 2 of them. So I need to take this and I'm going to duplicate it. So on the top here, you have a duplicate button. It's those 2 squares next to each other. Just kidding. That's... Nope, what happened to it? There's the paste. That was cut, and I forgot to hit paste. There's no duplicate. You have to cut and paste. I'm going to drag the arches so they're lined up, just next to each other. Be careful to make sure I didn't. Yep, see, I dragged one slightly past it. Look at it. That looks pretty golden arch-like, but I want those to be together. So again, I'm going to select both. Go up to the top where those two squares are, the square with the circle intersected. I'm going to group them. But this is hardly a handle, isn't it? Because I need to make it into a hole, or have holes in it. So, drag in another round roof. We're going to rotate this one. Same thing, 90 degrees. In this case, I did -90. It's the same thing. I'm going to shrink it down, make it narrower. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to drag this in and see, we'll go right through the center of it. It's kind of hard to tell, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that first golden arch, I'm going to change the color. We're going to make it, oops, it showed that I had two selected. I'm going to make this yellow. Now that is a glitch where it's making it kind of turquoisey yellow. That's weird. It shouldn't be doing that, but that's okay. Oh, because there's a second one in there. That was weird. Let's delete you out. Now we're looking better. I'm going to take this, line it into the center. I'm going to look right at it from the right view. I think that needs to be a little taller, just a little bit. Drag it up. I think that looks good. So I'm going to duplicate that one as well. Once I have it lined up the way I want it. And I'm going to line this one up. Pan over. I want a really good view. To be pretty solid here. So now what I'm going to do is we have to turn these two objects into a hole. Touch on the first one. Touch on the second one. And up there next to the blue circle where it says shapes, and then underneath it's a blue circle, you have that other circle with some diagonal lines in it. That's how you turn it into a hole. So it's going to take that shape we just made and it's going to cut it out of the golden arches. But see, that looks kind of goofy. Doesn't actually cut it out until we take all three of them. So they're all three selected and we group them. Again, the group is that square that has a circle intersected. And now it grouped it. Now we got some cool golden arches. I'm going to lift our golden arches up. And take a top view. Line it up. Make sure it looks right. I think it's a little too tall. Shrink it down a little bit. I'm going to zoom in. Let's go front view. Nice. See, it's a little off-centered, so I'm going to get this perfectly lined up. That looks like a pretty good Happy Meal there. Select both. I'm going to group them again. Notice when I group them, it changes their color. I'm going to change this one to multicolor. That way it will keep both, but now I can move just one object, and it's there. So now you have yourself a Happy Meal. So at this point, you're going to pause. You're going to use your iPad. You're going to take a screenshot. Like I just did. And you'll save that into your photos and save that for later. You're going to submit that to us to get a grade. But I forgot one thing. Before you do that, you need to change it so it has your name on it. Now you'll take a screenshot of it with your name. Save that to your photos. Load that up to Schoology. Last thing you're going to do is you are going to use the AR viewer, which is on the top. So you're going to click AR viewer. When you first use it, it's going to ask you to be able to access your photos. You need to say allow access to all. And notice you can tap anywhere to place your design. I'm going to place my design right next to my computer. So I'm going to place it right there. and I can move it around to drag it. I can use 2 fingers to resize, and I can make about that big, and you can rotate it too. 2 fingers to rotate. So you kind of turn it almost like a clock with 2 fingers on the iPad to rotate. I'm going to set it right next to my computer because I'm enjoying a nice McDonald's Happy Meal lunch. Then you're going to take a photo of it with that picture icon, and that's going to save to your photos. Then you're going to submit those 2 things to us: your screenshot of your work area with your name in the top left corner, and then the augmented, the AR viewer image. So that is your task. Make sure you follow these directions exactly. So when I see your screenshot, I should see that you've changed the grid size. I should see that everything is the right size that I showed you here. This is your opportunity to show us that you know what you're doing. Good luck.